In the most recent episode of WCTH Season 12, Episode 10, Through the Valley, Hearties were shocked to learn that little Jack, Elizabeth, and the late Jack Thornton's son has diabetes. Now, in the preview for the next episode, Having Faith, Maya and Mike rush off to get medicine for little Jack's diabetes. However, Hearties are quite outraged over the course of events. Many are asking whether the diabetes story is accurate. Here is what they have to say. Hearties outraged over WCTH deadly diabetes storyline. The upcoming WCTH Season 12 Episode 11, Having Faith, is about little Jack eating insulin for his diabetes. While diabetes can be managed in 2025, some Hearties on social media were side-eyeing the diabetes story. Is this story true to the era? I think they're going with history here. Lazy writing, but insulin was invented in 1921 in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. As a parent with type 1 diabetes, my wife and I are very side-eyed to this plot and storyline. 1922 was the year insulin was created. What year was the show set in? I am sure they will make Little Jack all about insulin as life changing from 1922. Sure, he will get what he needs. In 1930, when insulin therapy was in its early stages, a child diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, then called juvenile diabetes, had a very low chance of living a long life. Many would likely not live beyond their teens, with about 90% dying within 5 years. But with advancement in insulin therapy, people with type 1 diabetes now live into their 50s and beyond. I'm not happy with the diabetes story. Type 1 diabetes does not go away, and even with insulin in the mid-1900s it was a difficult life for patient and family. If they play it accurately, their lives would be ruled by the disease for the rest of the show, unless they have him died because it, and I really doubt they do that. What year does WCTH Season 12 take place? One of the big question marks for these Hearties is the WCTH timing. There has not been a real firm date, except the early 1920s. This is also based on Elizabeth's bobbed hair, which is a 1920s hairstyle, and the Charleston, which was prominent this season. Already, Hearties determined that dance is inaccurate to this time period. But what year is it? Firstly, the series started in 1910, when Elizabeth arrived to Coal Valley. Now, it is 12 seasons later. Therefore, the best estimate is that it is 1922 and insulin was around. Insulin researchers Frederick Banting, Charles Best, and John MacLeod, all Canadian researchers, invented this in 1921. But it is not sure if little Jack could have been receiving this treatment in 1922, as he was a child. But this is Hallmark world, where people don't pay for their hot chocolates. This has never been a historically accurate series. Therefore, there is no reason for viewers to insist that the writers tell a more realistic story. In the latest episode of When Calls the Heart, WCTH, Season 12, Episode 10, titled Through the Valley, fans of the show, affectionately known as Hearties, were taken aback by a significant plot twist. Little Jack, the son of Elizabeth, and the late Jack Thornton, has been diagnosed with diabetes. This revelation has sparked a wave of outrage and concern among viewers, particularly regarding the historical accuracy of the storyline. As the series progresses into the next episode, Having Faith, which focuses on May and Mike's urgent quest to procure insulin for little Jack, the conversation surrounding the portrayal of diabetes in the early 20th century has intensified. The Hearties community has expressed a mix of disbelief and frustration over the diabetes storyline, questioning whether it aligns with the historical context of the show. Many fans took to social media to voice their opinions, with some suggesting that the writing feels lazy and fails to accurately represent the realities of living with diabetes during the 1920s. One viewer pointed out that while insulin was indeed Discovered in 1921 in Toronto, Canada, the show's timeline raises questions about the availability and understanding of diabetes treatment at that time. A parent of a child with type 1 diabetes shared their concerns, stating, "As a parent with type 1 diabetes, my wife and I are very side-eyed to this plot and storyline." They highlighted the grim reality faced by children diagnosed with type 1 diabetes in the early 20th century, noting that in 1930, the prognosis for such children was dire, with many not expected to live beyond their teenage years. The advancements in insulin therapy have dramatically changed the life expectancy for those with diabetes today, but the historical context suggests that little Jack's journey would be fraught with challenges and limitations. Another viewer expressed dissatisfaction with the diabetes narrative, emphasizing that type 1 diabetes is a lifelong condition that does not simply that if the show were to portray the reality of living with diabetes accurately, it would mean that little Jack's life would be dominated by the disease, impacting not only him, but also his family. The viewer speculated that the show might shy away from such a heavy narrative, fearing that it could lead to a tragic outcome for the character. The question of the show's timeline has also been a point of contention among fans. While the series began in 1910, the current season is believed to be set in the early 1920s, likely around 1922. This estimation is based on various cultural indicators, such as Elizabeth's bob hairstyle and the popularity of the Charleston dance, which are emblematic of the 1920s. However, the lack of a definitive timeline has left viewers puzzled about the historical accuracy of the events unfolding in Hope Valley. Despite the concerns raised by Herties, it is essential to recognize that When Calls the Heart has never been a paragon of historical accuracy. The show has often taken creative liberties, prioritizing storytelling and character development over strict adherence to historical facts. As one fan pointed out, this is Hallmark world, where people don't pay for their hot chocolates. This sentiment reflects a broader understanding among viewers that the series operates within a fictional realm, where the focus is on heartwarming narratives rather than precise historical representation. As the series continues to explore little Jack's diabetes journey in the upcoming episodes, it remains to be seen how the writers will navigate the complexities of this storyline. Will they choose to delve into the challenges of managing diabetes in the early 20th century, or will they opt for a more sanitized version that aligns with the show's overall tone? The Herties community is undoubtedly watching closely, eager to see how this pivotal plot point unfolds and what it means for the beloved characters of Hope Valley. In conclusion, the diabetes storyline in When Calls the Heart has ignited a passionate discussion among fans, highlighting the delicate balance between historical accuracy and creative storytelling. As viewers await the next episode, they are left to ponder the implications of little Jack's diagnosis and what it signifies for the future of the series. Whether the show chooses to embrace the realities of living with diabetes or take a more light-hearted approach. One thing is certain, the Herties will continue to engage in spirited conversations about the narratives that shape their beloved show. In the latest episode of When Calls the Heart, WCTH, Season 12, Episode 10, titled Through the Valley, fans were met with a shocking revelation. Little Jack, the son of Elizabeth, and the late Jack Thornton, has been diagnosed with diabetes. This unexpected twist has sent ripples through the Herties community, igniting a passionate debate about the accuracy and implications of this storyline. As the series moves into the next episode, Having Faith, which centers on May and Mike's urgent mission to secure insulin for little Jack, the conversation surrounding the portrayal of diabetes in the early 20th century has become increasingly heated. The Herties, a dedicated fan base that has followed the series through its many seasons, have taken to social media to express their outrage and concern regarding the diabetes storyline. Many viewers are questioning whether the depiction of diabetes is historically accurate, given the time period in which the show is set. One fan pointed out that while insulin was discovered in 1921 in Toronto, Canada, the timeline of the show raises significant questions about the availability and understanding of diabetes treatment during that era. A parent of a child with type 1 diabetes shared their perspective, stating, "As a parent with type 1 diabetes, my wife and I are very side-eyed to this plot and storyline." They highlighted the harsh realities faced by children diagnosed with type 1 diabetes in the early 20th century, noting that in 1930, the prognosis for such children was grim, with many not expected to live beyond their teenage years. The advancements in insulin therapy have dramatically changed the life expectancy for those with diabetes today, but the historical context suggests that little Jack's journey would be fraught with challenges and limitations. Another viewer expressed dissatisfaction with the diabetes narrative, emphasizing that type 1 diabetes is a lifelong condition that does not simply go away. They argued that if the show were to portray the reality of living with diabetes accurately, it would mean that little Jack's life would be dominated by the disease, impacting not only him, but also his family. The viewer speculated that the show might shy away from such a heavy narrative, fearing that it could lead to a tragic outcome for the character.